Okie dokie. We're probably only going to be live for an hour tonight. It's a late one. I've been playing Battlefield. And I just wanted to do a little bit of painting before I go to sleep this evening. So hence why we have jumped on now. And we will be continuing on with our Dark Angels Inner Circle Companion dudes. And we're going to pick out some of the gold, I think, just to make it start to come together. That is the plan. Let's make sure my computer is working. Looking pretty good to me. Okay, let's get painting. So as per usual, we're going to use Necro Gold from scale 75 for our gold trim. Dilute it a little bit, as you should do with all your paints. Then we can start painting. I like this pose a little bit better because it's a bit easier to get into all the nooks and crannies. Especially compared to some of the other dunes that we were painting the other day. They're a little bit tricky. Bothered Biscuit. Hey mate, what size brush is that? It is a size 0. Raphael Kalinsky Sable to be exact. It is my workhorse. It paints most of my models. Because you can get real thin with it too. Multiple forks. If I were to transition from Age of Sigmar to 40k, what's the best place to start? I mean, if you're in it for the gaming aspect, probably not the best person to be giving you advice, unfortunately, because I don't actually play the game. But I think regardless, you should be choosing whatever army you think is cool. That should be first and foremost, for sure. Because you're going to have the most fun playing it, and painting them, and building them. So that's what I would personally do. And I enjoy the lore because of that. Makes me enjoy a faction even better. So that would be my my suggestion. Jacob, hello mate. How are you? Good to see you, mate. By the biscuit, you've got issues with the brush tip splitting constantly if I go too small. Do you mean you go too small with the brush itself? Like it's a really small brush and it starts to split? Is that what you're talking about there, mate? Or when you're trying to do too small a detail? Poppy Branton, hey mate, how are you? Just doing a little bit of hobbying, cheeky little session on a Sunday evening for me. That guy Ali, hey mate, appreciate you stopping by. So we're currently just picking out all the gold areas on the model, as you can probably tell. Laying down all those base coats, then we can start getting a bit more fancy later on. Nothing here. Oh yeah, mate. What is that? So some dude listening to some music? Hell yeah. That's what we're doing right now too. A couple of tunes, a couple of paints. Living the dream. Do you just paint it how you want it to look, or is there a guide or something? So I'm painting this as part of a commission, that guy Ali. So my client has requested it to be like the box art, but with like black armor in terms of a color scheme. So that's what we're doing. And this is from the Inner Circle Companions box set. And we're not going to paint heavy metal style. It's more of a tabletop premium style, so that a little bit more above your standard tabletop look and feel. Kathy, hey, what chapter are you making? You just joined. Kathy, yeah, so this is Dark Angels that we are painting up. Little Inner Circle Companion. So we've pretty much finished another one, so this is what it will end up looking like this. But yeah, that's sort of an end result of what we're trying to achieve with our sort of premium tabletop. So it's still got a bit of a way to go. Yeah, is using the very tip of a bigger brush like a 1 better than trying to use a double or triple in terms of reliability? 100% it is. I learnt that a little while ago because when I first started thought, to paint your eyes and stuff and fine details, you need a super fine brush. But it actually works against you, because if you have a super fine brush, you can't get enough paint in the bristles, and then it dries really quickly, and then it will cause issues. You want a brush like this with a nice tip, because it's still fat in the middle, so it holds a lot of moisture. So yeah, that is my tip. I wouldn't be going like the 000, quadruple 0. There's just no real point, I don't think. Rusty Trumpet. Do you use speed paints or contrast? Sometimes, depends what I'm painting, what kind of result I'm going for. At the moment, all this is being painted with just acrylic paints. Ryan, random question: if someone organizes a free, would you go? I'm trying to figure out if you pay $100 for the event, permit at my local park. 100%, dude. I used to love the Super Soakers back in the day, and even Nerf. That'd be so fun. Gunner.
For the Emperor. Welcome, brother.
Favorite chapter, brother? I don't have one. I know it's a bit of a cop-out, but I honestly don't. I just like painting Space Marines, so I'll paint them all, to be honest. I do have I guess an affinity for the color red, so I do love me some Blood Angels and some World Eaters because of that, if that is any indication. However, I did pick up this today, which we will get to at some point. It's a bit zoomed in, but hell yeah, keen to get stuck into the new Space Wolves at some point. Kathy likes the Space Sharks. They are a fan favorite, or I do see a lot of people loving the Salamanders these days. Salamanders seem to be like always popping up in my chat. As a favorite chapter. A little bit more gold here on the front. Nice gold, Hamish. Yeah, thank you. It's Necro Gold from Scale 75 if you are interested. Good coverage, good paint. Just thinking about a nerf battle, but it would take a lot of cleanup and free. Yeah, maybe not the best idea. Super Soaker's a bit more environmentally friendly, I suppose. And less work, less cleanup. Magnus, man dolls, 100%. I love painting little plastic men. We have Alfarius in the chat. Nice. Yeah, Bothered Biscuit. Superfine brush holds no paint and doesn't have the rigidity. Yeah, exactly. I learnt it the hard way too. Don't you worry, mate, you're not alone. That's why it's worth, if you're really invested in the hobby and you want to obviously keep painting and get better, it is worth picking up high quality brushes because they last, and you obviously get more use out of them because they're more versatile. What gold is that? I said it a little earlier. It's Necro Gold. I'm not sure if you'd already commented that before I said it, but I'll say it again. Necro Gold from Scale 75. Very good paint. Can you paint my heavy intercessors, Tan Man? Unfortunately not. I am swamped with commissions at the moment. I can only offer you words of encouragement. What grey is that? Looks sick. Are you talking about the grey on his chest, on the Imperialis? If so, it is reddish grey from AK, is the base coat we've popped on there. And it's hard to get in there without getting the brown on areas that we don't want, so we just go back in and quickly clean it up with a wet brush and a bit of saliva or water, your choice. Need more paint, I'm running out. I thought if I kept going smaller with the brush it'd be more accurate. Not true. Indeed, my friend. The Master's Brush Soap and Preserver is really nice. I think that's the one I've got. What have I got? I've got this brush soap, and it's pretty good. It is, the Master's, this one. Good brush soap indeed. Reddish grey for the prime. Cheers, man. Yeah, for this, for the Dark Angels sigils, the black is just Vallejo charcoal black over black. This one. But yeah, I like the reddish grey. It is a nice paint. It's looking gorgeous already. Thanks, Swapper. Appreciate it. Snoring Snail, it is an Inner Circle companion from the Dark Angels chapter. That's what we're painting up at the moment. God, this Mournfang Brown is what we're doing. For the leather colors is drying up really fast on my palette. Followed your Death Rattle skeleton video, turned out great. Thanks, bro. You're welcome, Michael. I'm glad. That's so good. I had a lot of fun doing that. I got a few on my desk actually that still need to get finished. I just wish I had a bit more time to paint my own models. I seem to be just painting commissions almost exclusively these days, which is taking away time from me making obviously more content as well. So that's why I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone, at least to hang out with you guys, shoot these live videos and chip away at the commission pieces that I'm working on. And I think that's all the leather bits. Just make sure I'm not leaving areas of unpainted sections, which I have. But yeah, this is I think one of the other skellies. This might have been the one actually, I don't know, can't remember. But yeah, I think it was a really cool rust effect that came together quite quickly, as you would have found out. Very good, Mexican. Yeah, good little brush stroke for sure. Thanks, Snoring Snail, appreciate it. And do I use contrast paint, Bryant? I do sometimes, but it all depends on what I'm trying to achieve. It has its uses, as does acrylic paint. Let's paint some of the silver sections, and we're going to use two thin coats, plate armor for the silver. We got a Saturnine Praetor and Calgar Kit Bash from Mexican. Very nice. I'd love to see some of this stuff. Like Michael, I'd be keen to see in your Skelly Boy. I want to see some of this. So if any of you guys are interested, no pressure, of course, but we have recently started a Discord where you can share your works in progress and you can show off your finished minis. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat. So if you're interested, feel free to join and start sharing some of your work with the other hobbyists there. It is the Hobby Fiend Painting Pit. We have named it. So yeah, feel free to come by, say hello, share some photos or two. You're about to buy your first figs at your local hobby shop. The cataclysmic event. Hell yeah. Welcome to the world of Warhammer, mate. Once you start, you can't stop. Good luck. I read that the Inner Circle companions are possibly risen, but I thought they, as in the Inner Circle companion, were a thing long before the Lion's Return and Redemption of the Fallen. I think they were, but I think you're right, the new lore does include some of the Risen as part of the Inner Circle companion. I don't think it's like exclusively, but some of them are, I believe. That's why there's a lot of contention in the Dark Angels chapter these days. I'm not 100% sure on the lore though. Could be wrong. Cool. Now we can whip out the red. Let's start doing that. Grabos, do I prefer to paint fully assembled models? If I'm trying to just relax and paint for fun, yes, because it all comes together a lot quicker. And if I'm not trying to paint to a super high standard, I'd paint it all together. But if I want to paint a higher standard model, painting in sub-assembly is definitely the way to go. And I will use that method for sure. Gravity Shadow, how many brushes you have ready during painting? One with paint, one wet for cleaning or more? I'm literally painting this entire model with this one paintbrush in my hand. Size 0 Raphael Kalinsky Sable. I don't use any other brush for this entire model. Even down to the lens, I use the same brush. And this is kind of the result that we got, like for a quick paint job, relatively quick. It still works out pretty well. I was saying to another guy in the chat, it's all about the tip of the paintbrush. It allows you to do the finer details. So yeah, you don't need 10 different paintbrushes ready to go. If you have one good one, that's fine. And if you make a mistake like that, I kind of painted the rope and a bit of the cloak. I just quickly rinse it, give it a bit of a lick, sharpen the point, and a wipe or two, and the error is fixed. See? Hydra Dominatus, Magnus Carlson. Oh mate, if only I was as smart as Magnus. Happy Sunday, mate. Good to see you still at it. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. I was only popping on for a little bit because I've been too busy playing Battlefield this evening. Playing with the boys, good fun, that's for sure. So making sure I'm not missing any other areas. It doesn't appear to be the case. I might paint the feathers white as well, so we'll whip out that reddish grey again, because that's going to be our base coat for the white areas. Do you know about the 5th Chaos God, the one that likes the number 11? Are you talking about Malak, or whatever his name is? The Chaos warband that are black and white. I do know about him, if that is the one you're referring to. Kobe, hi, what grey black did you use? For the armor, I used Vallejo model color black. Then we went into Vallejo game color charcoal. And then we added a bit of reddish grey to the charcoal to get higher highlights. And we will go and do edge highlights, I think, with a mix of reddish grey and charcoal. That's the plan that I've got in my head. I heard there are fallen in here. Quickly drop what I'm doing and went here. Maybe I'm a Dark Angel. Maybe you are. Mima, bro. Maybe you are. Sean. G'day, bro. How are ya? It's crack-a-lackin'. I'm not sure. I can't translate what you've written there. Sorry, Neon. But the thumbs up, I'll take it. Thanks, mate. Do you use paint thinners to paint the models? Asked the Star Tugs. No, I'm just using water at the moment. Depends on what product, but at the moment I haven't. If I did an oil wash on the other one and you use like a white spirit there, obviously you'd use that. But for this, I'm actually thinking of doing a null oil wash, and I might use Lamian medium if we do decide to do that to thin down the wash. Because it just took way too long for me to be able to paint the model again while I was live the other night, because the oil wash just didn't dry in time. And I don't want that to be the case. Liam, g'day mate, how are ya? You got BF booted now, hell yeah. Good luck on the battlefield, mate. It's good fun. Now we can probably build up a bit of layering on the cloaks, and I think that's what we'll do now. So originally we put the base coat as dark burgundy, so what we're going to do is add in some highlight colors to it to brighten it up and gradually build up some of the texture and highlight. And what we're going to add to it is brown rose from Vallejo. I'll show you in a second. This little color here, like a peachy color. Battlefield 6 is what you wish 2042 would have been, says Jack. Yeah, I never played that. I kind of stopped after Battlefield 3. But it has the same kind of vibes to that, which is promising. Very promising. And we're doing this cloak. We're working very thin with the layers. Kind of like in between a glaze consistency, I would say. And it does go on quite bright, but when it dries, it does start to fade away. So don't be alarmed if it looks a bit too bright to begin with. It will kind of start to dry a little bit darker. Nice and rough. We don't care too much for neatness at this stage, because it actually helps to build up the texture if you're a little bit messy and a bit rough during this stage. Max wants to have 1,000 points of Plague Marines. Plague, I'm assuming. Want to have 1,000 points army. He would just want 1,000 points army. Good on you, mate. Go for it. Blake likes the hooded helmets on Space Marines. I do too. I think they look sick. Very gothic, knightly looking. Kind of really goes into that 40k vibe, I reckon. So you can see it's already starting to work, slightly highlighted in areas. It might be a little bit too subtle on camera, but trust me, it is there. And we'll build up a little bit of volume on the helmet. Tippy tap helps to build up that that texture, nice and rough, like so. You can add in the sound effects if you want to as well. Makes you paint better. There you go. Alright, so that's our first layer done. I'm going to keep moving on the same coat again, just adding a little bit more of that brown rose mix, because we're working so thin, it's almost kind of like a wet blend. If areas haven't fully dried, which is fine, we can work with that. So let's give it a go and see what happens. So back around for a second pass. And the good thing is you can always go back with a darker glaze if it turned out too bright and you're like, not a fan, then you can just go back in and tone it down a little bit. Something like this should be fine. Bryant, thank you very much. Bro, you're one of the only live channels that seems respectable. Oh, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Very kind of you. That's coming through. See how it looks quite stark, but trust the process. It will come out a little bit more smooth and less jarring. So if you look back there, it's kind of, look at that difference to the wet paint to the dried paint. Looks a bit sketchy, which is good. Kobo, hello, how are you? Have I tried airbrushing? Certainly have. This is the one that I use. I love airbrushing. The Extreme Patriot 105 is my go-to from Badger. And that's how I've painted a lot of my stuff previously. And I painted the base coat of the black with an airbrush as well. So just to sort of give you a little showcase, I'll show you some of the models that I've painted where airbrushes are involved, which is pretty much 100% of them. So while that's drying now, quickly show you. So this Imperial Fist was painted using airbrush, and obviously the paint for other a paintbrush for other areas, but for the armor, most of that yellow was all airbrushed. Same with my Ultramarines. Like here. Definitely a massive fan of the airbrush. And even like this Flesh Terror, painted even the black armor and backpack. We painted with an airbrush. We kind of painted it in two separate parts. Scott, in curiosity, What is the inscription rather on the blade? I actually can't tell you. I don't know if you can read it there. I think it says Mortis. I actually have no idea. It's too squiggly. I need glasses or something, or a magnifying glass to read it. Why am I here is painting the mini of the month. Is that a Space Wolf? Is the Space Wolf mini of the month still? I feel like I've seen people painting that up, unless they've got new ones already. I don't know when they change it, to be honest. You can already see how it dries darker than applied. Very cool. Yeah, exactly. I think it's just something to note when you're working with lighter paints, and particularly like a glaze. Because sometimes you might be like, oh shit, I need to darken it down, but it's actually a decent color and you don't actually need to do anything, and just let nature run its course. Couple more little bits like this. Nice paint job. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Any tips for someone with tremors? Just tried an airbrush and I think it's the way for me. Yeah, look, I think an airbrush would definitely help if you are having issues with stability in your hands. I think the only downside is with the airbrush you can't get fine details. Like, as I say, I use both tools. So potentially what you could do is maybe use contrast paints, like you use the airbrush for xenon filling and building up base coats if you want to, and then use contrast paints for other areas because you don't need to be as accurate. The other thing is I always lean into the desk, so I kind of look like I'm handcuffing myself. So I'm like this, and I press into the desk when I'm painting because that helps me stabilize. Even little shakes, everyone kind of moves a little bit to some degree, and I find that helps quite a bit. Nice coincidence. You built your first Inner Circle companion yesterday. Hell yeah, Tom. Good stuff. You just shit your pants. Alright. No worries, bro. Better get that cleaned up. What kind of paintbrushes do I use? Star Tugs. I use Raphael Kalinsky Sable for my paintbrushes. We're currently using a size 0 as our brush, our weapon of choice. Hey, Nevenichu, how are you, mate? This is my last stream in a week. I know, you're off, aren't you? That's alright, dude. At least you're here for the last one. It's alright. I'm glad to have you here. Chicken Speed, they look amazing. Any tips on how to paint them? Not sure what level you're at, but I think tips on getting better, I think, is just trying to practice, pick models that will challenge you but aren't obviously too hard, and really work on your brush control. That's a key element, of course, is being able to control your brush when you're doing edge highlighting and things like that. Yeah, that's a long question, I suppose. You could speak for hours on that. Thank you, Stego, for life. Appreciate it. And just Zach, you are welcome. No worries, mate. Hey, that's an interesting one, Tim. Yeah, maybe that could be a way to go, helping restrict that movement, or unwanted movement. So let's keep building this highlight up, starting to look decent. Happy with it. I think that's working. Yep. TikTok live, question mark? No, just on YouTube tonight. I'm having issues with TikTok, so I'm just doing just the single YouTube stream. TikTok for some reason really doesn't like it when I'm streaming on 2 different platforms. It just wants me on the single platform, and obviously then I won't get to see a lot of you guys. So deciding just to focus on YouTube for a little bit. I'll sometimes do TikTok, but I have to be careful with what I say there because of that. If I mention YouTube, yeah, it really doesn't like it. Just dumb, just stupid. Shouldn't be like that. How do you take care of your brushes properly? Mine always have problems, but I don't take care well. Maybe that could be the problem, is if you're not taking care of them well. Just use a bit of brush soap. That's really all that I kind of use. I don't wash them daily, but I'll just make sure that paint's not drying in the bristles. That's probably the way to go. You really don't want them to get paint like right up here in the end of the brush, because otherwise you'll be in trouble. It's harder to clean if it gets stuck up there, so try best to avoid that if you can. But yes, definitely wash your brushes. So that cloak's kind of getting there. So this here is the brush soap that I've been using. So recommend you give it a shot. It's pretty good. Some really good tips there, Tim, Scott. Good tips for sure. Made me say edge. Righto, halfway. Rah. Hey legend. Hey legend, right back at you, dude. Good to see you, mate. Do I use a wet palette? Yes, I do. I have one at the moment, right here. It's Redgrass Gaming wet palette, but I don't use the things. I just use some baking paper from Aldi as the actual palette bit that you put your paint on. So I know we wanted to paint this in here green, so I may as well do that while I'm thinking about it. Tabby. Hi mate, new to your streams. Can I ask what paints you like or are using? Welcome, first and foremost. Thanks for stopping by. I will always say that I don't have a specific brand. I like all of them because I've used a lot. I've used Pro Acryl, Scale 75, Citadel, Vallejo Metal Color, AK. They're all, I'm looking at them all on my rack. I've got Army Painter, Fanatics range. I think the most important thing is the different colors and the way that they function, because each range has shit colors and shit paints that seem for some reason not to be consistent with other paints in their range. Maybe it's just the way that they're made. So yeah, it's it definitely comes down to personal preference. But yeah, I like to mix and match. I don't know if that's helpful. or helps answer your question. But honestly, that's my answer. A shame to say I had these on pre-order and still haven't got around to painting them. It's all good, David. You are forgiven. But yes, Excelsior. Get onto it. Get onto some brush soap. Credence. How do I paint crevices without ruining your brushes? I gave up on that and just started painting each piece separately. I mean, it's hard, like, to get in there. Like, honestly, if I had the choice, I wouldn't have glued the arms on. Like, I would have left them off, because it makes access a lot easier. You just got to be careful and slow and steady, is my only suggestion there. Never need to, can't stay on late. That's okay, dude. I won't be on it for too long either. Probably another 20 minutes or so, I think. So don't feel like you're missing out too much. So what we're going to do is pick out the white on the iconography, and then we're getting close to a wash step, I believe. Have I ever painted any pre-heresy world eaters? I have painted a shit ton of them in the color schemes, but not in like 30k. He's missing his backpack, but this is the color scheme you're talking about, that blue and white look. But yeah, I wish I had more, but it was for a commission, so they all went back to their rightful owners. I use Squidmar's wet palette. I like it. Yeah, I like the stuff from Squidmar, like that they put out. So I imagine their gear would be good as well. Great channel, great content. I dig their shit for sure. Oh, you got a bunch of Army Painter and a few Citadel? Yeah, exactly. You'll find what works for you. Some people love just sticking to a certain range because they find, you know, the consistency is what's important to them, or accessibility in terms of just getting their hands on the paint. You know, I understand that some people just can't get every single paint range. Might be hard to get where you live, so just play around with what works for you. New to painting but changing from Vallejo to Army. Yeah, that's it. Give it a shot. Experiment. It can't hurt. This is a great crit, easily one of my favorites. What's my gold method? Cypher. At the moment, we've only used one single gold paint, and it is this one here, Necro Gold from Scale 75, and that's the result so far. It's a very nice gold paint, that's for sure. Uncle Jew subbed. I love 40k painters and love to learn. You're a legend, dude. Thanks for that. I'm glad you're in here and hopefully learning something. Try and make sure I keep this in frame while I paint him. I feel like the details on these wings are kind of obscured. They've been like gunked up with paint previously. So we're kind of manually painting those wings on, as you can probably see. So I'm just guessing where they would be, but when you look at it from in the hand, you won't even know. So I'm not reading chat, I'm kind of locked in at the moment. I will get to any ones I've missed, I'm sorry. Just want to get this section done. There we go. That's pretty good. I'll take that. Very nice, Supreme. I'm glad you like the World Eaters, dude. Goodbye, Never Need You. Thank you so much for sticking around for so long. You're a legend. Enjoy your time away. I'll see you when you get back. Fart Mongola, what a name. Just did a human Tau kit bash. Very proud. Good work. You should be proud. Kit bashing is hard sometimes. Definitely. I'm glad you like it, Scott. Yeah, Necro Gold is one of my faves. The combo Necro Gold and a highlight of Peridot Alchemy. Oh, chef's kiss, dude. Like, that's what I did with this guy here. It was a bit more refined, but I'm pretty sure that that's Necro Gold from memory. And I even used a little bit of verdigris, if you can see in the Imperialis in his chest. Yeah, it's a very nice paint color combo. Like for 2 paints, decent result. Yep. I also did it for this guy here, Matoris. I'm pretty sure that's definitely Necro Gold and Peridot Alchemy. Yep. Nice and shiny. Cypher, gorgeous work. How'd you go about the robes? Looks amazing. Thank you. So we're just going before, literally just building up texture, gradually, kind of like a glaze consistency that we were using with our paint. Just going back and forth. Not sure how long it took, but we've only been live for 50 minutes, so maybe 10 minutes? I'm not sure. It's pretty fast once you get the hang of it. I might have to paint this off stream, this bit on the chest, because it's a lot harder to paint at a distance, because normally I paint a lot closer to my face. Otherwise it's going to look too messy. But we'll see if I can do it. Pedro, hello from France. Hello, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. Park Keeper, nice mini painting, looks crisp. Haven't used my army, I'm thinking Tau, what do you think? I think go for it. Why not? Some people will say no to Tau, but go for it. Can't go wrong, mate. If you think they're cool, all power to you. Definitely recommend World Eaters for a playstyle. Yeah, that's on the complete opposite side of the spectrum there, Far Mongola. Melee and Tau's shooty style. Polar opposites. No, that's going to be a bit too tricky, I think, to get a good result on camera. That's okay. We can highlight up the other parts on his cloak. And it'll be Carrick Stone for the next highlight on the brown section, and also the what do you call it, purity seal. I'm such a big sniper gun guy. Range is always so important to me. Then Tau sounds like the army for you, for sure. I gotta go, subbed real quick. Awesome painting. Thanks, the Park Keeper. You're awesome. Hopefully see you next time, dude. Thanks, Scott. We're getting there. We are getting there. It's just a little bit too tricky to paint up to a decent standard on stream, I've got to say. One question for you, Hobby Fiend. How do you get your brush bristles to a point in between painting? Any advice? Grab your paintbrush. Do that. That is how you get a sharp tip. That's why people lick their paintbrushes. It's not just a habit, it actually serves a purpose, I think anyway. Because when I'm painting, I'll paint and it starts to fray like this, just naturally, because see how they just like kind of split when you're painting. And then I'll wash my paintbrush because I'm changing my paint or whatever, and then give it a lick and I'm back to sharp point, you know? But obviously make sure your brushes are healthy. Wash them, take care of them, and they will serve you well. I really want to get this chest eagle done. Let's try it on stream. Who cares? If I mess it up, you can make fun of me. That's okay. Because I want to really try and do a wash. Normally what I'd do is, if I didn't have the swords here, like I'd normally have them not glued on, and you can just quickly dry brush it and it will pick out all the details really quickly. So you don't have to spend eons manually picking out the feathers like we're trying to do now. And the result is not going to be as good. Let's see if I can... And that makes sense. I've been pinching it and just gobbled up my brushes in the process. Yeah, don't be pinching it. I mean, you can a little bit if your brush is like soaking wet to get a little bit out. But just, I find licking your paintbrushes works for sure. It might seem stupid, but I feel like it is the way to go. I'm not really into planes, so I've been printing my own minis. Do you print as well? Sorry for all the questions. No need to apologize, mate. Ask as many as you like. I'll try and answer them as best I can. I'm like you. I like painting. I don't really play. I don't print though. I don't have a printer. I'm fortunate enough because I do commission painting. They actually get to do painting because people will send me their models to paint. So I still get to enjoy it without having to spend $1 bajillion with Games Workshop. It's part of the reason I do the commission painting, is to have that opportunity to paint lots of different models without having to sink a whole bunch of money of my own into it. And just, I love painting, and it helps me improve as well. So I got okay results. I'm not overly happy with it, but I think it will do because we can clean it up with some washes and stuff later on. But what we'll do is we can keep moving, because I'd rather keep moving than cut the stream there, because I need to do shit offline. Let's paint this feather up. Like so. Kind of like what we did with the cloak. You can add a little bit of texture with your brush strokes. Such an underrated technique is just making scratchy motions with your paintbrush, and you can get a whole bunch of texture from it. Simulated texture, I should say. It's not actually leaving texture as in the paint, but it's making it look like there's texture there. Where do you get your characters from? I want to start the hobby, but don't know where to start. Gods, I think I answered that question when I went on a rant about commission painting, so hopefully that answered your question. Titus Deathwatch. This is Inner Circle Companion from the Dark Angels. Credence, you said in an earlier stream you've painted the lion. How many Primarchs have you painted? Just him or more? And could I see him? I've painted Angron, I've painted the lion, and that is it for Primarchs. I don't have either of them because they were both commissioned pieces, but I've posted them in the new Discord that I've created, and that's just reminded me for anyone else there. I've just dropped the link. We've just created a Discord to share your finished minis, your works in progress, and just chat shit. And I also let people know when I'm going live in there as well, if you'd like to join me. So yeah, feel free to join, and you can see some of the photos in there. Good morning, Malignant Squirrel. How are you? What gold paint? We are using Necro Gold for the gold paint. I'm just going to highlight up a little bit of this green down here before we go into the wash step. Need a little bit more bright because we're going to lose a lot of it as we go darkening things down. Attention to detail is sublime. 2 hairs and some air. Thanks, Scott. Sam, I think I answered your question as well. Necro Gold is the one. J-Bud, it all depends in terms of how long these take. Depends how long you want to spend making it in terms of quality. You could do a couple hours, you could do tens of hours, or you could just do it in 30 minutes, really. All up to you how good you want the end result to be. Alright, so let's put on this wash, and we're going to experiment together right now. I don't know if this is the way, if this is the play to be putting on a wash, but what we're going to do, we're going to do it together. So, Nuln Oil and Lamium Medium, if I've got it. I think I do have it somewhere. I think it's hiding over here. Too much shit on my desk. What's that? Contrast medium? No, we want Lamium. There we go. Alrighty. As I said, non-oil, Lamium medium. And we're going to make it nice and thin, but it should work pretty well. See how we go. Gonna get a shit ton of out on the palette. Okay, and this is the rare time when I actually use a bigger size brush. So I'm using the size 1 Raphael Kalinsky. Some people will say use even shitter brushes, but I don't really use like contrast paint and washes all too much. And because I'm washing my paint brushes, it's not going to cause too much damage to a good brush like this. Okay, let's see how this turns out. I'm mixing in a lot of Lamium medium to this wash. It's going to be ultra thin. And here we go. It's very thin. That's good. We don't want it thick. it'll just add that slight bit of definition that we're looking for in the recesses, hopefully. Yep. And you've got to be conscious that it doesn't pool in areas and you let it dry that you don't want it to be pooling in. Like here, we don't want it to be pooling there, so we just wick it away. Bad wash. We don't want you there. Mainly on the gold areas, like we don't really care about the black because you can hardly tell on the black. It's just the brighter areas where you're going to obviously notice the most effect of the wash. Yeah, you can see it's pooling in areas we don't want, so I'm just wicking them away. While I'm doing this, I'm going to read a couple more of your comments, so apologies guys. Malignant, well, your painting is just great. Popped up a couple of times now, and each time is a treat. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Ross spitting some heretical nonsense in the chat. But thank you. Appreciate you. And Sam's big up in the Dark Angels. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Tabby, where are you in Oz? We got someone from South Australia. I'm in Sydney, New South Wales. Beautiful Sydney. What do you use to clean your brushes in between paints? Water. By the way, I appreciate you, how you interact with your chat. You're killing it. Thanks, dude. Yeah, literally, this is my dirty paint water. That's it. Just rinsing it in between and then licking it. That's all I'm doing. I would save the brush soap stuff for when your brushes are getting a bit gunked up. Like some people will clean them every session. That's fine, sure. I don't. I might clean them once a week. It doesn't take that long. I should probably be a bit more on top of it, but I find it's enough. That's drying fairly quickly, which is good. See if I can do anything else in the meantime. This is the one that had the oil wash, and you can tell it's a little bit shiny still in areas, and when it's shiny it means that the oil's still not dried, and obviously that's the pro, but also can be a con for using oil paints. So they take fucking ages to dry. You need to go, guest coming by today, but cheers for sharing part of the day with us, keeping up the amazing work. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you sticking around for so long, my dude. Take care. Wicked Corvus, this may be an odd question, but I'm not a 40k collector, although I did buy some 40k Magic the Gathering decks. The Necron deck is insane. I am very jealous. I wish I got my hands on some of those 40k Magic the Gathering cards, because the artwork on them is sick. I love the artwork of all the Magic the Gathering cards. Used to play it back in the day. Papa Perfect, thank you. thank you. And Wicked Corvus, this is Dark Angels. Space Marines that we're painting up. While that's drying, I'll just do another quick showcase of some of the other models that are painted. This is a little orc, which unfortunately dropped and took a chunk out of his head, chipped away some of that paint. But yeah, commando style orc. So it's given wildlife warrior vibes with his tan t-shirt. Pepper Perfect, thank you. There's a 40k MTG. Is it old one? Yeah, there is. It came out a couple of years ago now, but definitely really cool. Yeah, I'm so bummed. I should have bought the set when I had the chance. I just didn't have the money back then. I was broke. Still kind of am, but not as broke, unfortunately. Another Corn Berserker. I like showing this one. It's my most recent. I like painting the red. Tactic Bear, what has been your best work so far? I'd probably say some of the commission pieces that I've painted are up there because I've spent a lot of time on them. I painted the Sanguinor. I'm very proud of that. I painted like a Night Rampager. You can see them all on my website. You see some of those photos that I've painted. I'm also posting some stuff in the Discord as well. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have them here to show you because they've been returned to their rightful owners. What's the largest model I painted? Credence, yeah, I'd probably say it is the Night Rampager as the largest. However, I have a commission sitting here ready to go, and it's a Demon Chitin engine of Khorne. I think that's what it's called. Demon Chitin. Yeah, it sounds about right. It's the big dude holding a massive axe. So yeah, that will be a big one to paint. What got you into painting minis? And do you have your first mini you ever painted on hand? Very good question. My cousin got me into Warhammer when I was like 9 years old. I didn't know I liked the painting aspect then. And then I stopped for a bit, and then I got back into Warhammer a couple of years ago. My girlfriend encouraged me to, so I did. And it's been great. But in terms of a mini, this is probably the oldest mini that I have on hand at the moment. I think I have older ones back at my childhood home, but this is my little squat marine that I painted up. I think I was maybe 13 at the time. It was like year 7 or something in high school. But yeah, that's this little bad boy here, and it was for a friend because I don't know if you can see it if I bring it closer, but on his leg I wrote A because A for Aaron is my name. It would always be on his model. But I used to live with him, and he gave this back to me just as a little moment, like a memory piece, so it's just cool. So he sticks with me now. We're getting closer and closer on this guy. Still got a bit to go. Make sure some of those areas are still pooling. The rest is fine. Chipped? No, battle damage, that's it. You should make a super tiny band-aid for the drop mark, or just make it invisible purple. That's true, maybe I should. I like the band-aid idea. Maybe I'll put that if I get some time. I'll paint a little band-aid. How far are you away from super chats and donations? I think I'm still quite a far away. Like 1,000 watch hours is what I'm at the moment, so I need 3,000 to hit that milestone. So still a bit to go, but we'll get there eventually. Scott, eventually. Nathan, hey brother from Brizzy, clean work. My son asked if he could start 40k and wants to do Dark Angels. Stumbled across is a sign we'll be following you for sure. Thanks, Nathan, and your son has a very fine taste in Space Marines. Good on him. I actually like this band-aid idea. While this guy is drying, why don't we paint a little band-aid? on our finished orc here. I gotta remember what a band-aid looks like, hey? It's just like a rounded rectangle, right? And I need to find the colors for it too. Let's have a look. Maybe like a flesh color? Like a Kislev flesh color? Let's do this. Cadian flesh tone. Let's do that. Very wholesome. Yeah, exactly. Let's give this orc a band-aid. Gonna shake up this paint. I haven't used it in a long, long time. What would be your favorite model? Do you like the Dreadnought? Don't know favorite model. I really liked painting up Angron. Angron was really fun. So I'd put him up there, I reckon. Just such a cool, imposing model. Have you made a good collection? Dawn of War 3, 3rd generation, no limits is a fun mod. Never played that one. Soulstorm was my jam back in the day. Dawn of War Soulstorm. Hell yeah. Alright, let's see if we can paint this band-aid. Which direction should we have it? Maybe like this. Opposite to his little scar. I'm going to sketch it out first. Okay, and then we can go in and do some outlines with it. And a tiny little highlight. I'll keep an eye out. I'd love to contribute to your work. Just keep it up, mate. You'll get there for sure. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it, dude. Truly. I appreciate it, guys. You guys are sick. Thank you. Feeling the love. That's for sure. Now, have you made an entire Space Marine chapter of 1,000 Space Marines? Char, I have not. I can't even finish my own army. I've been in this hobby for years and years and I still don't have my own army. Maybe one day. But today is not the day, unfortunately. Alright, let's try and do... I think we need to outline the band-aid so it looks like it's kind of like a 3D object. I don't know what color. I'm thinking maybe this brown might be the one. Could be wrong. I also think it might be slightly too thick, but that's okay. It's a big gash on his head. And then we'll go in with the Kislev flesh again and just kind of like thin it out. You like the orc skin. Thanks, Nathan. We did, it's kind of 50-50. Airbrush got me like the gradient, and then I went in with some glazes to build up those highlights. I feel like I've never seen a Band-Aid in my life. This is the most wonky ass Band-Aid that I've ever fucking painted. But YOLO. Bit of fun. Kind of just looks like a bald spot at the moment. Maybe he just like he has a little bald spot. I don't know. Maybe I do like a dotted pattern. You know how like Band-Aids have like, what's the word? Like vents? Holes in them? I don't know what the word is. They're not vents, but you know what I mean. Maybe we like add in some of those, and that'll like help it look a bit more like a Band-Aid. Something like this. A couple of dots. Dot, dot. So stupid. We need to highlight it up a little bit as well. Alright, that's his little Band-Aid. Done. There we go. I'd rate that Band-Aid probably a 3 out of 10. That was atrocious. I was under pressure. Under pressure. Any advice for painting the lion? Kazim, paint it in sub-assembly. That is the number one tip I could give you. Don't build it altogether. Paint it in sub-assembly. It's just too hard to paint otherwise built. Thank you for the kind words, Wicked. Legend. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Dead Snow. And Scott, you're off, dude. Take care. You're a legend. See you, dude. Custodians are next level, dude. Custodians are like elite. I love them. Yeah, there it is. That's a Band-Aid. Maybe I should have used that as reference. God, look at that. Look at what's in chat versus what I put on this poor orc's head. Oh, fuck. Oh, well. Answer to Kazim with paint. No, honestly, I would like to know as well what your thoughts are for a lion. Yeah, I think sub-assembly, obviously paint the, what I did, I used airbrush for the armor and stuff to build up the highlights, and then went in with lots and lots of coats of paint to keep things nice and thin, particularly on the cloak. But yeah, I've got photos of him on my Patreon, on my fucking Discord. I don't have a Patreon. On my Discord. So if you want to check it out, join and have a look. Might help with what I'm trying to say, give you a visual. I used to do Terracotta on electronic components and custom keyboard and wiring and stuff. I have to say the detailing stuff you guys pull off with the airbrush is astounding. Look, dude, I'm not even like that great with my airbrush compared to some of those guys there. Like, they are like next level. Like, I'm impressed with the details that they can pull off with their airbrush. But yeah, some of the painters that I follow, like, whoa, I wish I could paint at that level. The problem I have is just the time. Like, it's just, I don't know if I could paint a model for, like, a single model for like 100 hours or more, or 300 hours. Like, god damn, that is commitment. I should do plasters crossed over. Yeah, that might make it look a bit more like a band-aid. Maybe I should have done that. Still got time. Maybe I can go back and do that later on. While I'm yapping, I'm just doing a couple of edge highlights here on the gold, and that will really start making it pop. Even though it's still drying in the recesses, I think it's dry enough to go in with these edge highlights. Bro, I look like the school bully who always beat you up and took your snacks. Well, I can tell you, I didn't beat anyone up in high school, so it's definitely not me, that's for sure. What's the hardest model I've painted? I'd actually have to say probably the Night Rampager, the one that I'm very proud of, as one of my favorite paint jobs, was also one of the hardest, I think, because it was such a slog to get it all painted. Like, we were painting it kind of box art style and box art level, like it's painted quite high level. And that just took ages to do. And it kind of like burnt me out a little bit. But, you know, now I look back at it and yeah, proud of the job. So, I have to say that, I think. But burning out from painting models is not fun. It's meant to be a hobby, you're meant to enjoy what you're doing. So yeah, don't like doing that, pushing yourself so much that you hate the hobby and just want to have an extended break. It's not great. What do you think about Loyalist World Eaters in pre-heresy colors? I think that's bloody brilliant. I love the World Eaters. And I love the pre-heresy color scheme because it looks so good with blood splattered on it. So yeah, why not? I keep up the grind. Thank you, Glorschnark, Eater of Children. Appreciate your kind words. Do I also paint Age of Sigmar? Only a couple. I've got this dude here, Skelly Boy. But they're just for fun. I like the look of the Death Rattle skeleton, so I picked up a box and wanted to paint some. So I did. Then I also have a little ghoul over here from the Flesh Eater Quartz, which I painted up a while back. Again, I was kind of experimenting with contrast paints and stuff. So that is the result. This little scary ghoul. Gonna get you. With that step done, guys, with the gold, there's more we can do, but what I'd probably want is this to fully dry first before we go in there. So I might have to let that dry and come back for another session another time. But I've just seen Tanya's I only paint Age of Sigmar. That's alright, that's good. Paint whatever you enjoy. Some people like the fantasy element, some people like the sci-fi, some people like both. As long as you're having fun, that's the main thing. So yeah, I think with that said, my friends, and it is almost midnight here in Sydney, Australia. We might have to call it an evening. So I will let this dry and try and do a little bit off screen as well. I've got a few models I need to catch up on. And then we'll be back cooking at the painting table very soon. Again, before you guys go, if you want to, that is the Discord link in there. I'd love to have you guys in there. Share and paint. Share your painting journey. Show off your finished models. Show off your works in progress. Yeah, it should be really good. It's very new, so there's only a few people in there, but it's good fun. I'm hoping to grow it to become a bit of a little hub for us hobbyists to share our plastic crack addiction. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Thanks for hanging out on this short little stream. You guys are the best. I will see you next time. Happy hobbying between now and then. Adios and peace. See you guys. Bye.